So the invitation for our starting seat today is to sit back on the heels. So for me, I can do it, but I know after about 30 seconds or so, my knees will start complaining. So for now, I just prefer to have a cushion under the seat. Yes. So this is our Vajrasana Thunderbolt seat. So just getting a little bit of energy going into the legs. And given, let me sit this way so I can talk to you. Given our theme today is very much about grounding, so I've called it stable foundations, or not. Maybe everything feels very unstable and wobbly and unsure. So of course the theme is just an umbrella. You're under no obligation to suddenly feel like all your foundations are stable. It's always just an inquiry, a frame of reference to consider where you're at in the container of your physical form and how your mental, emotional, and spiritual terrain is in all of that. So the element connected with stability, and it makes complete sense, is earth. So I'd invite you to really consider how earthed, how grounded you might be feeling for now. In terms of the asana, so the physical aspects of how the session will be designed and how we'll move together, is going to have quite an emphasis in the legs. So just see what can often happen is we almost lose connection with our feet, with our legs, because everything starts to become a little bit heightened up here. As we might have palpitations, we might be feeling a little bit too aerated, headachy, all this frustration that is very much upper body centric, and it's almost like we've become two halves, disconnected with the lower half. So it may not be the case for you, or it may be a bit more subtle. And actually, that even when you feel a little bit heady and a little bit ungrounded, just the very action of becoming aware of your feet can in itself be very, very helpful, because it's just that reminder to come back into your whole body. So let's just begin to settle down. I'm going to invite a mudra to support our pranayama, so our breath work at the beginning, which is the Prithvi mudra, which means earth mudra. So it's just joining the thumb and your ring fingers together. So it makes a circuit, ring finger and thumb, simple as that. And then you just I would let the hands just rest where it feels comfortable. Everybody's different in their shoulders, so and arms. So you might feel more that it's more pleasant, more just more comfortable to let the arms elongate. Otherwise, just have them wherever they want to be. And then just letting your eyes drape closed, if indeed that feels appropriate for you this morning. And just that reminder that where there might be some physical challenge in our practice today, that you just take your time, you meet yourself where you're at. And the element of earth is really asking us to do that, to slow down, permission to slow down. Mouth is softly sealed unless there's any respiratory congestion at the moment for you. And just tracking sensation. So as you start to arrive into the experience of your breath, of your body, tracking sensation. Where is there unease? Where is there tension? And just start to let the breath slow down, allowing it so it's not a forceful where the mind jumps in and you must slow the breath down. It's just the allowing, and this really is the surrendering, the yielding. So we remember that the earth rises up to support us. Relaxing your tongue in the mouth, noticing how your jaw is this morning. And even if the eyes are closed, is there tension in your eyeballs? Are you able to just melt them a little bit? Maybe that's connected to a frown. It might just be a suggestion of a frown. So it really is the nuances and the subtleties where the alchemy unfolds. And then for the next few breaths, just breathe into the very base of your spine, the root chakra. How rooted are you? Or how wobbly are you? Whatever it is, that's just what it is. Have a slight tuck in your chin, just so you feel you can slither the shoulders down the back, so the back of your neck feels comfortably long. And see again if that allows the brow to unfurrow and the eyes to relax. Is there a hunching of your shoulders that's creating a whole load of tension in the face? And then as we slow down together and arrive into the group energy, taking your inhale that little bit deeper into your belly. So that reminder again of taking things down will help ground you. So taking the breath down has a formidable impact on the whole biometrics of our nervous system. Highly complex and intricate nervous systems that have developed over millennia. And just let yourself to settle. Perhaps hearing gently any sounds of nature or any sounds full stop, including the sound of your own breath. Continue to breathe into the base of your spine, and even noticing if there's any tension around that place, around the perineum, around the anal sphincter. Is there a holding there? That can happen when we feel unsafe. It's like we're holding. Or maybe as a child, you at school, you're just like, no, you can't go to the toilet now, you have to wait. All these things that remain as experiences in our tissues, in our psyche. Nourishing breath, grounding breath, supported by this season of Taurus. We are not a single planet. We are part of a vast universe. How things move through the sky, the atmosphere, influencing us. And Taurus energy is connected to Earth. So I really invite you to see how you can gently ground back into yourself. And let the breath be that ongoing aid, that ongoing companion. 3 more breaths together. Softening tension on each exhale. Great. And gently release the mudra. And let the palms just face down on your thighs and roll into your shoulders. Let's roll into your shoulders. And notice if there becomes an immediate over focus in the upper body. So whilst you're rolling your shoulders, just breathe into your feet. So the tops of the feet in this seat get a little bit of a stretch. Maybe that feels good, maybe that feels agonizing. So by all means, if you need to switch your seat, do, and then change direction. So just loosening up the shoulder girdle. Good. We take an inhale, raise your arms up, and just let the right hand clasp the left wrist. So nothing complicated, just this idea of lifting and slithering up out of your seat and then drawing the upper body over towards your right. So the left side body becomes a target area. So if this feels very uncomfortable, maybe you've got a shoulder impingement or something going on there, by all means, let the arms come further forwards, it's fine. Or if this clasping is not working, you can absolutely adjust the arms. So remember, take care of yourself. One more breath. And then inhale back to center, switch your grip. Take another inhale to spring buoyantly out of the base of your spine, and then exhale. And just notice in these movements, what is happening to the breath? What is happening in your mind? Relax your jaw. Breathe into the base of your spine. Root chakra is very much associated with safety. So how can you gently remind yourself you are safe? One more breath. And then inhale back to center and release. Another little roll of the shoulders. Yeah, rinsing it off. Okay, great. So we're going to just release from your seat. So if you had a cushion, just pop it to one side. And have a little bit of strengthening in the upper body and seeing if we can maintain that sense of connection with your lower body. So they are some press-ups, a little bit of a variation. So coming down onto your tabletop, the hands go so the fingers are facing one another. So the elbows are allowed to open out. So just see how that feels. And don't force anything into the wrists. I would suggest taking the heels of the hands all the way to the outer edges of your mat so you've got space. If your shoulders want them wider, that's fine, allow it. And just adjust your knees slightly back, hollow out your bony breastplate. So if this is starting to happen and the belly is hanging, just see where you can sprout, lengthen down through the base of the spine. And then taking an inhale here, exhale, drawing the chin towards the mat. Press back up. Just take your time. Find a rhythm. I would exhale on the way up, actually. Inhale down and exhale. So you've got that power in your belly. Inhale down. Exhale, press back up. 3 more. Breathing in. Powerful exhale. Come back. 2 to go. Last one. Well done. And gently release. Come to a kneeling stance and just a gentle Uttanasana Camel Pose. So a gentle back bend. So hands come into the small of the back, fingers tracking down. If you've got the range of motion in the wrists and you want to have a variation of fingers tracking up, that will offer the sternal plate more open. You can. So just if that feels completely ridiculous, then just leave it away. Have a gentle engagement of your glutes, not so that they're gripping on for dear life, but just so there's awareness that your glutes are there for you. Your hands are reminding you you're supported. And then you're blooming and lifting up as if you have a golden thread, drawing your sternal plate up towards your ceiling. Elbows drawing back towards one another. If it feels better to tuck the toes here, if that's more stabilizing in your knees, do. Gives the toes a little bit of a stretch as well. Breathe into your feet. So even though the target area is very much the spine, the back bend, remember your feet are there for you. Chin can be tucked if it troubles the neck to draw the head back. And come away from strain. Don't give yourself such a hard time. One more breath. And gently release. Good. Easing into a downward dog. So nice wide splay of your hands. Tuck your toes under and lift the hips into your Adho Mukha Svanasana. So just take your time to settle in. Where does this feel appropriate? How do you wish to take this seat today? Asana actually translates to seat. And it reminds us the original premise of the physical practice was so that we could be comfortable in our body to sit in meditation. So some of that's got a little bit distorted in the westernization of yoga. So we want to have a beautifully lubricated, strong system. And that is very much a mindset. So be careful where the mind starts to tell you, well, no, I'm not lubricated. And just see, just be curious about what your beliefs are about your body. Nice deep breaths, shining the base of the spine up towards your ceiling, freeing up tension from the root. One more breath. Head and neck relaxing. And then soften to your knees, knees nice and wide, big toes touching, and sit back into Balasana, child's pose. So the seat drifts back towards your heels. Again, any knee issues, you might like to have a cushion under your seat or under the forehead if it feels like the head is hanging and unsupported. Arms can be long in front, or you can cocoon them by your sides. And again, breathe into the tops of your feet here. Feel the connection of big toes touching. Maybe even the air dancing on the soles of your feet. Two more breaths. And then gently coming back to a downward dog. And see, the invitation here is to bring the feet together. And it's fine if you're tight in the backs of the legs, and that means bending the knees quite deeply. It can just be quite an interesting way to ground more into the body and to feel that we are safely contained. We are safe in the container of our body. So look to your toes. You're saying good morning to your lovely feet. How do you feel about your feet? And offering the belly towards the tops of the thighs, grounding into your hands. Notice if the head and neck is starting to tense. That gentle tuck of the chin is opening up the back of the neck as well. And then exploring, perhaps the legs can start to straighten a little bit, but don't overdo it. Your breath is your gauge, your barometer. If the breath is catching or becoming uneasy, listen to the biofeedback from your body. Modify. One more breath. Good. And then take the feet as wide as feels good again, and just walk your hands back towards your feet and just let yourself dangle in Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. So head and neck relaxing. Just that reminder, if you've got any hypertension, any uncontrolled high blood pressure, it's much better to rest the elbows to the thighs, because in a hypertensive state, you don't want the head hanging way below your heart. So this will allow the head to be above the heart. Same if you've got any quite serious eye issues. So just a reminder, please always let me know if you've got something going on, because there are some things that are contraindicated. So know that I'm there for you for any questions. Otherwise, if it feels good to dangle, dangle away. One more breath, breathe into your feet. And then gently rise up, vertebra by vertebra. So you feel the strength of your legs. You feel the strength of your legs. Let the shoulders slide down your back. And there you are, standing tall. So just look to your horizon. Notice if there's a tendency in your psyche to disengage and to look down. It's almost like we become smaller. We hollow in. And sometimes we need to do that. So it's not about, it's never about making yourself feel bad through your practice. It's just growing in awareness. But how might it feel to gently bloom the chest open, to soften your eyes, So drishti, your gaze, is a big part of our asana practice. And when the eyes are wide and gentle, it gives the brain the message that it's safe, you're safe. And then breathe into your feet, into your roots. And then staying nice and secure into your right foot, just gently floating the left knee up and holding where it feels comfortable. It might be the shin if it feels better in your shoulders to hold beneath the thigh. If you're very wobbly, you can absolutely hold on to a wall or shift yourself near to something that you can hold on to. So please know that that's completely fine. See if the brow has furrowed or the jaws started to grip. Can you become easeful even in a standing balance pose? Be in your breath, deep belly breaths. Feel connection to earth through your right foot. Gentle eyes, smiley eyes. One more breath. Well done. Release your left leg down. Anchor down now through your left leg. And just keep that openness in the upper body. So we draw up that energy from the earth and gently come to the other side. Neutral face. Don't worry about wobbles. Wobbles are how we grow and learn. Failure is a huge part of success. One more breath. And then gently release. So just take a couple of breaths back into both of your feet. Notice how it feels, how the energy feels in your legs. Do you have a belief that your legs are very heavy or that your legs are not strong? Or maybe your legs are like, oh, I love my legs. They're my favorite part of me. So just let your eyes close and breathe into your legs. Breathe into your legs. Breathe into your feet. And connect with what it means for you to draw energy up through the soles of the feet. To remember you are supported. Now we're just going to have a little play with the next thing. And it might be actually a good idea if you just have a little look first, because it's all about brain patterning here. So just have a little look. We're going to come back to a fold, and then you crisscross the hands to hold the outer edge of the left foot. So crisscross patterning can really help to build mental acuity, but at first it can be very, very tricky. So you take hold of the outer edges of your foot, you just breathe into your core, trust the right leg is there for you, and then you spring up. And don't worry about the wobbles. And that might be enough. That might be enough. And let's actually just start with there. So let's just have fun with it. If you know your balance is all over the place, don't worry about coming up fully. It might just be a hovering action or a moving toward, your foot might feel like lead and not want to lift. So that crisscross action, holding either side of your left foot, anchor down into your right foot, and then just lift up. And just be curious about where you are. Doesn't matter if you're all the way down still, doesn't matter. If you have come up, just see if you can slither the shoulders down the back, draw up through the crown of the head, and maybe start to extend the left heel in front of you. Now these are just invitations. If it feels crazy overwhelming, leave it away. To come out, bend the heel back in if you extended the leg, and gently bring the foot back down to earth. Rise back up. I felt burning in my right ankle there. So shake out whatever needs shaking. And, you know, come back down to the feet, come out of being all the way up here. It's like, okay, new experience, playful. And then start to come to the other side. So just see how it feels. Again, that crisscross action at the wrists, holding either side of the foot, and then just be playful with coming up. Just be playful. Yeah, take your time. If you need to make several attempts, that's fine. And maybe just coming up and maintaining a deep bend in the knee is enough. If you want to have a play with extending the heel away without yanking the shoulders forwards, and keep your drishti to the horizon. Breathe, come out nice and slowly, or not. And then just shake it out, just shake it out. Just be curious how that went. Maybe it went beautifully for you. Just see. Okay, well done. So bringing your feet together now, inhaling into Utkatasana, chair pose. So again, this is all about strengthening the legs. If this feels very overwhelming in the upper body, by all means, bring hands to prayer at the front of the chest and just let it be more of a leg focus. If it feels very unpleasant having your feet together, you can do this pose hip distance, but just be, check in with where the knees are over the ankles. If you have extended the arms, you're floating your drishti up between your hands. Two more breaths, sink your seat a little lower, relax your face, trust your legs more, trust them, trust them, trust them, and relax the arms, press to standing, shake it out if you need to. Well done. Hip distance stance, chin tuck, so you just follow the spine all the way down. And just dangle there in your forward fold, opening up the backs of the legs. Trusting your legs are your stable foundation from which the upper body can then just be soothed. So instead of the upper body being turbulent and stressed out and our legs forgotten about, your legs are there for you. Let the head and neck release, relax. Relax your jaw. And then gently walk yourself back to a downward dog. Just take your time. If you feel like pedaling out the feet one at a time, do. And again, just have a little contemplation of your feet. Be watching as the legs ambulate, how the ankles dance, what muscles can you see move, what tendons, what bones. Good, and then pressing evenly back through both heels. We take an inhale and step the right foot to the outside of your right wrist, and then the left foot to the outside. So we come into a wide, wide stance. Now this might be enough. If you've got some knee issues, you might want to be careful here, where you just start to bend the knees out just a little bit. If it's there for you to come down into a squat, that is the invitation. But remember, it's an invitation. If you find that the heels are really tight and you don't want to go down, you can absolutely kind of lean a little bit into the hands. So it's fine to do that. Let me come back a little bit. So be where you need to be. But this can be very helpful for releasing tension at the base of the spine. You can use the upper arms if you want to encourage the thighs to open a little bit more and hands to prayer. So you just suggest that alignment, rinse the shoulders down your back, and then close your eyes and just breathe into the base of the spine. I know my breath pattern is definitely up. Now I'm 6 months post the kidney transplant. I'm trying to build my strength back, but it is catching a little bit. So just share that with you, because it's just, we're all in our process and our journey. But it's a reminder of how splendidly brilliant our bodies are. Amazing, amazing. So just breathe into that. Okay, we'll have a little play here. If this squat is feeling agonizing, please rest out of it and maybe just come to a seat and work on the breath. Otherwise, we're going to go into a twist here. So your right arm stays to the inside of your right leg. Let me come this way. And then you wrap the arm around and the left arm comes around to perhaps bind. So you might find the hands come together. If that feels really overwhelming, just start to open the left shoulder and don't worry about the bind. It might just be something like that. That's fine. So only bind if it's going to honor you. And then breathe. Breathe into the base of the spine. Remember your legs are there for you, even if they're singing away. Discomfort is part of life. However, on a physical level, if you're getting any nerve pain or sharpness, please come out. 2 more breaths. And then gently release. Okay, come to the other side. Left arm wraps around, or maybe it just starts to just open, and then you open the twist like that. That's fine. Maybe you bind. So you invite the right shoulder open. 2 more breaths. Relax the jaw. Mine's going crazy. And then gently release. Come down to a seat. Sigh of relief if you need it. And then let's just have a grounding Paschimottanasana. So our forward fold, but nice and gentle, nice and gentle. So I would suggest that the legs your feet are about hip distance here. So just allow, we've done quite a lot into the legs. So just, you see, maybe even just give them a stroke. I think we can be so self-conscious, especially in the UK. It's, you know, it's okay. And actually, but it's just nice. It's that sense of self-touch to just, you know, connect with your legs. Connect with your legs. Maybe give them a little bit of a massage along the way. Great. If you need to be on a cushion here, if you've got that anterior tilting in the pelvis and it feels like lifting out of your back is really tricky, sit yourself up on a cushion. And then let your shoulders again just slide down your back and offer the chest, offer your heart towards your feet. So the heart longs to guide you. So let your heart sing to your feet. Just a little inner song, just a little inner song. Hands rest where feels comfortable. And then you might find that you inhale, draw the energy up through the base of the spine, and then exhale, fold. Maybe it's a gentle fold today, or maybe your legs feel so warm that you find that you can reach towards your shins, towards your ankles. If you've got the range of motion in the muscles at the backs of the legs, you might find that you can hold the outer blades of the feet. But just have a check with what your feet are up to. What I see quite often is that the outer blades dip forwards because maybe there's a bit of flat-footedness on the inner arch. So you're never forcing an immediate autocorrect. We have a habit to do that. We spot something like, oh, I must correct it immediately. When it comes to the body, you need to be gentle. You need to be gentle. So it might just be a suggestion, if that is happening in your body, of letting the little toes, eventually you're planting a seed for them to come in line. See what position of your head makes sense. Just that reminder to flush your shoulders down. For me, I quite like tucking my chin a little bit here because it just gives me that freedom in the back of the neck. But if you feel like, you know, looking to your toes, because that's feeling better for opening the throat, or if you want to just hang the head, absolutely do. So we just ground more into the energy of our legs, supported by having physically come down to a seated pose. 3 more breaths. Of course, if your knees need to be bent here, that's absolutely fine. Good. And very gentle. Just slide up, rebound, nice and slowly. Bend up the knees. And we'll come into a boat pose. Whilst it's very much an abdominal focused pose, we're ultimately balancing on our seat. So it can also be very, very grounded if we kind of recalibrate towards that as our intention. So lifting the chest, sitting back in space a little bit, so you start to feel your abdominals engage. And then maybe you just start with holding behind the backs of the thighs, and that's your balance point. So you breathe into the base of your spine. Some of you might find that you can release the arms. If that's too intense, just replace the hands. And then you can play with lifting the heels away. Gently let your drishti, your gaze, be towards your toes. And breathe into the base of the spine. So see if you can lift up and away from your spinal base. So that connection to earth is what's informing lift and energizing your whole spine, energizing prana, vital force. Good, one more breath, doing great. And release, well done, hug it out. So nice deep bend in your knees. Let the brow rest towards your knees. Again, if holding behind the backs of the thighs is more comfortable for you, do. And cocooning inwards. Notice what your feet might be up to. There might be an unconscious pattern of lifting the toes. So just let your toes melt like butter. And feel the texture of your mat through the soles of your feet. So that's somatic awareness. What are we connected to? How are we moving through space? Deep breaths. One more. And release. Okay, we'll come into another forward fold. So let's start with the actually left leg long, right knee bends up. And maybe I'll come this way actually. So it's our Marichyasana A pose. So the heel is coming as close to your seat as feels comfortable. And you want about a hand gap between your right inner arch and the left thigh. So it's not, the foot isn't kind of magnetized to the thigh, you've got that hand gap there. And just take a couple of moments to just see if you can align, drink in the energy through the base of the spine to find that lift and use the hands to support. So the shoulders are sliding down, you're nice and long down the SCM, so these strong neck muscles that can get very tight. And then just take the left fingertips gently behind you. Take an inhale, reach your right arm up. And then you exhale as if you're reaching forwards to catch your left foot. But instead, you're going to use that left hand to keep propelling you forwards. And then sweep your right arm around the right shin. So if you're very tight in the shoulders, this can be very, very tricky. So it might be that you're just working towards it. And you can absolutely keep the left hand as what's helping you, because this is a forward fold as well. If it's there for you, you can bind. So you let the fingers come together, or it might be that you're hanging on to a piece of clothing. The bind might not be quite there. Again, it doesn't matter. Maybe it'll never be there. Maybe your shoulder anatomy is too unique to allow it. So, you know, there's no end point, remember. There's just the being. There's just the being. Let the chin tuck. And feel that you're able to stabilize and anchor down into your right foot without toe gripping. And then just find what buoyancy you can from the base of the spine to lift up and out, powering down into the back of your left leg. There's flexion in your left foot as long as that's not too intense. If the left knee needs to be bent, that's absolutely fine. Nice deep breaths. Notice what the shoulders might be up to. Are you able to let the shoulder heads be a little bit more open? 3 more breaths. Check in with your lovely jaw. Last one. Well done. Gently release. Not worrying about where you got to or anything like that. Your practices can only ever be your experience. So right leg lengthens down now. Energize that right leg as much as feels comfortable. And then bend up left knee. So heel is moving as close towards the sitting bone without the knee feeling in any way compromised. Remember to have that hand gap between foot and thigh. Right fingertips come behind you now. So there might be even a little reorganization into the seat so you feel evenly weighted and rooted through your seat. We take an inhale to reach, so really extending length down the left side body to take that in as if we're going to touch the extended foot, but no, we're going to take a detour and wrap around. Maybe you keep the right hand as is because that's just where you need to be, and that's going to help you. Maybe the bind is there. If it's not, it doesn't matter. You might just be moving towards it. So just this beautiful acceptance of where your body is. Again, that connection, that earthing through your left foot, so your left foot is stable. The toes aren't gripping like crazy. Toe grips can often be just a mental grip. There's something going on there. And these things can be incredibly subtle or incredibly obvious. Only you can know that. So these powerful realizations we have when we start to understand our own physical form, our own unique anatomy, and to also understand how our psyche sits in all of that. So what are our beliefs? So that is the self-inquiry. But remembering to be so very gentle with yourself in that inquiry. 3 more breaths. Keeping your right leg active, so maybe even engaging your quads as you gently bear down into the back of your extended leg. 1 more breath. And release. Excellent. So just take your time to come back to an all fours, and we're going to climb our way back into a downward dog just to see how everything feels after those grounding forward folds. And just notice how your energy feels within your own container, the container that is your body, your own temple. Deep breaths. We gently walk the hands once again towards the back of your mat. Have a little moment of just dangling in Uttanasana, that standing forward fold. Now heel toe the feet together. And then inhale back into our Utkatasana. So your arms might sweep up for a breath or two. We're going to adjust the arm placement anyway. Look gently up between the hands. Sink into your seat. Release tension off the base of the spine. And then hands to prayer in front of your chest. Take an inhale to slither your shoulders down your back. And exhale, twist to your right. So the back of your left arm comes to sit on the right thigh. And then gently, without the left hip overly pulling forward, so you don't want to jeopardize your SI joint. If there is a requirement for the left hip and the left knee to pop forwards a little bit, that's okay. If there is capacity to correct it, do, but don't force it. And then maybe looking up towards your right elbow. Pressing hand to hand, palm to palm. Relax your jaw. Remember your feet are there for you. Don't get too heady. 1 more breath. Well done. Inhale back to center. Find that length through your spine. And exhale, twist to the other side. So the invitation is for the knees to stay together, but not worrying if there's something going on in your right hip and the right knee is naturally needing to come forwards for now. It's fine. Leverage into the back of the right arm. Float your gaze to the left elbow. If it's too intense looking up, by all means, just look to the floor, maybe look at your toes. One more breath. And release. Well done. Walk back. Downward dog. Downward dog feels like a breeze sometimes in comparison to some of those tougher poses. Nice deep breaths. Let the head and neck relax. Relax your jaw. Maybe take a couple of exhales out the mouth. Releasing inner frustration, the great unsaid. Good. One more breath there. Drink in the energy through hands and feet. And release. Soften your knees down. Sit your hips to one side to come all the way to lying on your back now. So all the way down. And just have a little moment there. Have a little moment. I would suggest keeping the knees bent. If it feels preferable to just have the knees staying on top of your hips, that's fine. Now, sometimes it can feel more soothing to let the inner knees relax into one another, but everyone's different in the hips. That might be not so relaxing. So just be where you need to be, and then rest the hands on the very low belly. So almost really on the triangle of your front pelvis. Just to connect with the depths of your breath and to breathe again into the very base of your spine, your coccyx. Gentle tuck of the chin, so you've got that spaciousness in the back of the neck. Your shoulders are slithering down. Chest open. And then just deep belly breaths. Encouraging equanimity in your breath. So just noticing how it feels to inhale. How it feels to exhale. Does one aspect of your breath feel more easeful than the other? Maybe the inhale feels more complete, but the exhale is a struggle. Or perhaps the other way round. Attend to your breath. Eyes softening. Jaw softening. Two more breaths there. Into the very base of your spine, into your root, the mula. Mula meaning root. Muladhara is the root chakra. It's our foundation. Well done. So we'll keep the left knee bent. Bring the right knee in towards you. Now, if it's there for you, you can take the front two fingers and wrap it round your right big toe. So it's to the inside of your leg. If that feels like too much once we start to go into a leg extension, then absolutely hold to the calf muscle, or it might be even both hands need to hold behind the back of the thigh. And if your knee needs to be bent, that's fine. So this is our Supta Hasta Padangustasana. So supine hand to foot pose. And if it feels like your right shoulder is being massively yanked out, then, notice if there's a capacity to slide it down without being forceful, or maybe the best thing is to just change the placement of the hand to allow that shoulder to not be over compromised. Reminding us of balance. And some of you might find it's completely fine to extend your left leg long. Otherwise, just keep the left knee bent. Keeping your chin tucked without forcing, because if there's tightness, there might be a cervical arch and it's very challenging to tuck the chin. So again, can you modify or maybe have a cushion under your head? That can often help if you've got that arcing in the cervical spine. 3 more breaths, gazing tenderly upon your right foot. Feeling connection with your right leg.
And then gently release. So we'll start with the right knee being bent. Left knee comes in. Front two fingers perhaps will wrap around your left big toe. And then you just start to explore the extension. If, as you extend, the left shoulder is pulling, then just adjust. Maybe behind the fleshy calf, maybe behind the thigh. So what is the biofeedback coming from the inner state? And how is your psyche responding? Maybe lengthening the right leg, maybe not. Discern, discern, discern from within. Again, drishti lovingly towards your left foot. Just being mindful, if you have the range of motion in the back of the leg, just be mindful that this left elbow isn't overlocked. So we yield where we can. 2 more breaths. And then gently release. Allowing yourself there to just slide into Shavasana. So any adjustments or any little blankets or jumpers you want to bring in, by all means do. And then just let yourself be. Arms alongside you. And depending on how you feel, you can have the palms facing up if there's more of a sense of release and receptivity. If you are still feeling a little bit heady, and again, don't worry if that is the case, just let the palms face down, because again, that can just be more grounding, more earthing, more stabilizing. So whatever it is, take what makes most sense to you in the here and now, in the here and now. Melting the jaw, softening the face, as if someone you loved was just gently stroking your face with a feather. Just relaxing. Notice your feet. Maybe there's a bit of tingling as the nerves release. And then just let yourself be held and cradled in the support of the earth.
Imagine you're lying in a beautiful forest or a favorite woodland area, lying upon the earth, the soil, and the tree elders stand tall above you, watching over you. Some of them hundreds of years old, they've seen so much, and yet there they stand. Strong roots. Strong roots that burrow deep into the earth, drawing up nourishment from the loamy soil. Reminding us that it is necessary to go into the darkness, the belly of the whale, the loamy soil, in order to stabilize our foundation. That treading a spiritual path in whatever way resonates to you asks us to look at our wounds, to look at our resentments, our bitterness. Because when we bear witness to them, they become our greatest strengths, because we have alchemized. So trust as you lie upon the forest floor. You are lying upon the roots of the tree elders that are so wise. And as the wind gently rustles through the leaves, perhaps within that wind there is a gentle message for you. A gentle message for you. Receive it in whatever form it's coming. Receive it. Trust it. Know it. Embrace it. Be deeply comforted by it. Breathing into your feet. Just gently wiggle and dance your toes. Maybe rotate your ankles, getting out any clicks and pops, or just that connection once more with your feet. Notice how your legs feel, and indeed how you feel within your own being, whatever that is, whatever that is. Allow your breath to deepen, to ease you back to this time and space, this here and now. Stretch if that will feel good. Any other movements, hugging the knees in. And then gently ease yourself to a seat. And whatever seat that feels best for you, we meet with the hands to prayer, to seal this practice, to celebrate the wisdom of nature of which we are a part. Namaste.